Today we're going to be ranking every single alternate art from the Sword and Shield era. If you didn't check out my previous video ranking all the tag team alternates, I highly recommend that. I did that about a month ago. Looking down here, we do have the tag team ones here, but we won't be ranking them today. I also won't be ranking the Charizard box promos, as they essentially are equivalent to art rares, as they came over in Japan's Crown Zenith equivalent of their set, I believe, V-Star universe. So only going to be ranking the alternate arts from Battle Styles up to Silver, Tempest today. If you enjoy these tier list videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter as well, I have the Twitter at Whimsicast, and I actually have a new Twitter account where I post TCG facts every single day. Roseanne's Research at Roseanne Search on Twitter, so go check that out if you just enjoy Pokemon facts. Posted every day. So, without further ado, we're going to get right into the alt art. I do usually differ from the popular opinion on alternate art, so I'm probably going to get hate for this, especially because alt arts are like the new thing nowadays, the new chase. Went from being like $10 in the Sun and Moon era to like $400 in the Sword and Shield era. So people really like these alternate arts. Let's go. First of all, we have Single Strike Urshifu V. This is like, it's not bad, right? But it's just like very, very simple. Doesn't really evoke much from me. It's a nice illustration. I'm not sure who drew this. It might be Kawayu even. I don't think so, but it might be. Just because of the painter, like, blur kind of on there. It's not terrible. It's just like, okay. Like, it's not bad. Then we have the Rapid Strike V. I think this one's a little bit better, but again, just okay. I'm not a big fan of Rapid Strike Urshifu, or Urshifu in general, sorry, as a Pokemon. I do like Rapid Strike Urshifu as a card, as a player. But the card itself, like, Urshifu is just kind of whatever, in general. Then we have the Single Strike Urshifu VMAX. This one gets a little bit too much hate for being a little bit simple, but I think it's just, this is how VMAXs just should have looked. People say it looks like a VMAX. Yes, it is. First of all, it is a VMAX. And second of all, this is how VMAXs just should look with the regular art. They should just be like dynamic poses drawn by actual artists instead of CG models thrown on top of special effects vomit. So, you know, I can't hate it. It's definitely not bad, but I'm going to throw it in C tier once again. It's a little bit better than these two, so like C+, but like not B tier. Then we have the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. This one is my favorite one from Battle Styles. This one is really, really nice. It's got just Rapid Strike Pokemon flying all over the place, just chaos in the card, and it's a fun one to play too, though I've never actually owned this one. In fact, I've not owned like 90% of these because they kind of priced me out of the hobby, you know, in this last few years, so I can't really afford newer cards. But this one is very nice. A tier for sure, close to S even. It's just a really incredible card. Then we have Napoleon V, training with Phalanx at the Waterfall. This one's training with Mienfoo, sorry. Phalanx is just kind of there. This one's okay. I get what it's going for. I'm just like not a huge fan of it. It doesn't really evoke anything for me. D. Then we have the Sleepy T-Tar. I was hoping to buy this one when Battle Styles first came out. Like, this was the card that I was like, oh, it's going to be cheap because it's not very playable, and, you know, it's Tyranitar, which had really never had that much of expensive cards before. But then apparently the craze of, golden or rainbow Pikachus and rainbow Charizards came to alt art arts, making them super, super expensive. Like I said, back in Sun and Moon era, you can get most alt arts for like $5-10. And this one, instead of being $5-10 like I expected it to be, ended up being $100. It is some nice art though. I do think it's more fun than the other ones right here. We're going to put it in B tier. Then we have I believe that Okacheke drew the Ice Rider V. It's not my favorite. Like, it's not bad. It's just kind of in the middle. I do like the Deerling, though, showing up, so it's got a little bit more going for it, but nothing great. It's just C tier. Then we have the Shadow Rider V, with a bunch of Squovit cowering in the background. This one really evokes, like, the ghostly sense with the, like, greenish hues on it. I really like that. It's also just really, really well drawn. A tier. Then we have Ice Rider VMAX. You're going to notice over this whole thing that I just, like, the VMAXs are usually just worse, because they're big and they have to, like, incorporate space in a different way, which I don't always love. And yeah, this is definitely a case. This is, like, really, really boring. I don't really care for it. D tier. like D-. It's not an F because I don't hate it, but it's pretty bad. And then on the opposite side, this is actually a good VMAX, Shadow Rider VMAX, beautiful card, illustrated by Mitsuhiro Arita, absolutely gorgeous illustration. I'd be lying if I said anything other than S. It's just a gorgeous card. Then we have Zera Aura on top of the Hills. This card has gone up in value because people really started to notice, like, yeah, actually this card's kind of sick over in the Dynasty Hill. Playable card too. It's definitely better than its art rare. Usually I like, or the character super rare, sorry. Usually I like the character super rares a lot because I like the characters from the games as well as the Pokemon with them. It creates a good dynamic, but this one's actually like even better than its character super rare because it's just a really, really well drawn piece. So we're gonna put it in A tier. Then we have Galarian Articuno. This one's not bad. He's putting a barrier around himself, which is kind of cool. And for me, if it weren't like as well illustrated as it is, like Galarian Articuno is not a very cool Pokemon. I think he's really lame, especially compared to the other two birds here, and especially compared to regular Articuno. But like it's just so well illustrated that you have to give it some respect. So I'm gonna put it in B tier. Then we have Galarian Zapdos running up the hill. This one I'm not a big fan of. This one's another one where the character super rare just like absolutely clears it. The one with Sonya chasing it down. That gives it a lot more personality. I'm just not a huge fan. I believe this is Akira Komiyama. Just not my thing. It's not bad, it's just not my thing. Then we have the Galarian Moltres V by Shibuzo. This is just an absolute slam dunk card. If you're rating this anything other than S, it's because you're lying to yourself. This card is so cool. Chilling Reign, really one of the best sets of the time, only really topped by Celebrations. Brilliant Stars and Lost Origin, both really, really good sets as well. Chilling Reign had Caitlyn, it had Galarian Moltres in it, it had the, I'm trying to think, the Blissey V, which was one of my favorite cards at the time, not the alternate art, surprisingly. Yeah, we'll get to that. Then we have the Sui Rapidash alternate art. It's a pretty card, and like it's kind of like the Articuno, where like I don't like the Pokemon at all. Like the Rapidash is a horrid, ugly shit, but like it's a very, very pretty card. You know, it's kind of like a very sparkly pile of shit. You know, it's got some appeal to it. Appeal, right? Yeah, B tier. Then we have the Tomokazu Komiya, Slowking. This one's not bad. Komiya isn't like my favorite illustrator or anything. I know a lot of people would die for this man. I think he's just fine. I just noticed the unknown is in the wrong spot. Let me just move that down. It's bothering me. It's not bad though. It's not bad. It's very well illustrated. I think it gives this real vibe to Slowking that you just don't get from the other cards, where it's like this malevolent motherfucker. Like he is plotting your demise as we speak. Kind of hinted in an attack too, where he makes you get knocked out next turn. However, those attacks are also just absolute dog water, so like, you know, wasn't a very playable card. But gonna give it B tier. Then we have Blissey V. And as I said before, I love Blissey V, but I love it from a playing perspective. It was a lot of fun to play in the expanded format. Really a deck that allowed you to tech for any matchup in your supporters, which was a lot of fun, just because the deck was so simple in its attacking strategy that you had the space to do whatever you wanted elsewhere. The alternate art is not part of it. It's not bad. I believe Sayasuruya drew this. Just not my absolute favorite of these. Again, it's like a C tier one. Again, the character super rare absolutely clears this. Then we have Tornadus V. This is a card that I feel like just doesn't need to exist, honestly. I like the Tornadus VMAX regular art, the one done by Arita. That one's very nice. I'm not a big fan of this art at all. From my Chilling Reign openings of the alternates I pulled two of them, and they were both this one, which was really depressing. Because my least favorite one, even as someone who likes Generation 5, I'm not a big fan of the Therian Pokemon. I don't know what to call them, even the genies, something like that. Not a big fan of any of them. This alternate art is like, is it Tetsuya Koizumi, I believe, drew this? It's not bad, it's just not my thing. D tier. Then we have Blaziken VMAX alternate art with the Rapid Strike crew by the Rapid Strike Tower. And I unfortunately have to say that this is the ugliest alternate art I have ever seen in my life. It is one of the ugliest Pokemon cards I have ever seen in my life, up there with like Grimer from the E-Series, right? Like, this is one of the ugliest cards I have seen in my entire life. Legitimately awful F-tier card. Like, I'm offended at how ugly this card is, and I despise it. Then we have Leafeon V alternate art. This one is one of the ones I'm fortunate enough to own. Did pick it up when it was cheap. Got it for about $30, I believe, back when I got it, though it's really off-cut, which is unfortunate, but whatever. It is still a absolutely beautiful card. Really happy to own it. Gonna put it in A tier. And we have Flareon. Flareon, another one I'm happy to own because they put it in boxes, and honestly, I just think that they should put all of the rare cards in boxes. That way I can own all the cool cards without having to spend $3,000. So I like this card quite a bit. Very, very pretty card by the fireplace. Really just top tier, gives the Pokemon a lot of appeal. S tier. Then we have Vaporeon. This one is another really, really good one. Under the water, under the sea. And I got to play with this one a lot when I was playing Vaporeon VMAX for a time. It's just a really, really pretty card. It's almost S tier, but I can't really say it's S tier. It's A tier. Then we have Glaceon V alternate art. This one's just okay. I believe this is Naya Kimura drawn artwork. Could be wrong on that though. It's just okay. It's nothing special. C tier. And we have Jolteon. Jolteon's running up the building, doing some Spider-Man shit. I don't know, man. He's just climbing, going somewhere. I don't know where he's going. Is this the Flash? Is this Spider-Man? Are we talking like maybe this is, Speed Racer? What's going on? B tier. Nice artwork, though. And we have the Espeon. Espeon's absolutely great. So absolutely talented artist with a really unique style. Brings a lot of life to the TCG. Seeing them get alternate arts has been really nice. Gonna put that itself in A tier. I might have ranked this S like a year ago when it came out. But I have wavered on it a little bit. It's still really good, though. It's one I'd like to own someday. Well, I'll probably never own, though, because of cost. Then we have Golurk V, one I was fortunate enough to pull, and one I was fortunate enough to buy in Japanese for relatively cheap. Golurk is one of my absolute favorite Pokemon. This alternate art does not disappoint in the slightest, drawn by Oswaldo Kato. It is just an amazing, amazing card. Really, really just top tier alternate art, especially if you get the Japanese one. My English one's off cut because that just tends to be my luck with these alternate arts. But if you get the English or the Japanese one and you see the texturing on it, it really, really just ups the card another grade. Top tier alternate art though, S tier. Then we have Sylveon V working at the bakery. Another one I'd really like to own someday, but probably never will due to cost. It's not bad, yeah, gonna go in A tier. I just really like the colors all around it. And this card, like I said, I'd like to own. The character super rare for this card is also very good. Then we have Medicham V alternate art. This one's grown on me a lot. Originally, I probably would have put this in like D tier when it came out, but I actually pulled the card and it's become one of my favorites. There's sometimes when you pull cards and you're not like immediately warmed up to them. Like I was frustrated at first because I'm like, oh, I pulled the least valuable alternate art in the set. But like as you like own the card, you get more attached to it. You just like look at it and you're like, that card is sick. Similar thing happened to Rapid Strike Mustard full art from the the Trainer Gallery from Brilliant Stars. Like I pulled that card and I was immediately like, oh, this is kind of lame. But then like as time went on, I'm like, I look at it again, I'm like, yeah, that's a really nice looking card. This is the same thing. It's got so many details. Really get the whole Rapid Strike vibe going into it, like the Rapid Strike Urshifu. But I like the angle on this one. I think it's really, really fun. Gonna put it up in S tier. Might be a hot take, but I really like that one. Then we have Umbreon V. This is drawn by T0. It's basically the single card that's blocking me from ever owning a T0 illustrator collection. T0 is my favorite illustrator in the TCG, so I'd love to own all the cards he does, but Umbreon single-handedly is preventing that because this card is not cheap. It is a very cool card, though. Umbreon is sitting right at the moon, bossing around all these like shady-looking fuckers in the alleyway, telling them that they're gonna go rob the store. Something, I don't know, man. He's evil. He's pretty awesome. A tier. Then we have Dragonite. This is actually a card, like, weird thing. I don't know if it happens to anyone else, but I actually have, like, almost like premonition in some of my things, and I'll get severe deja vu when things will happen. I'll, like, see things in my dreams, and the two cards I saw in my dream on a day about a year and a half ago. It's like before Evolving Skies launched, so actually about 2 years ago now. I saw Dragonite V alternate art because I saw the Fearow down here in my dream, and then I saw Jolteon because I saw the lightning in the top corner, and I don't know why, it was just like a dream, but then they got revealed. I was like, got this huge deja vu feeling. Total side note, but like I get those dreams a lot. It happens all of the time where I get deja vu feelings. I really wish my deja vu would help me win a lottery ticket or something instead of just predicting Pokemon cards. Regardless, we have Dragonite V here. This is one that I am not a big fan of on the art, and I'm even less of a fan because of the card itself. If you do not play the expanded format, you have been thankfully spared from Dragonite V's wrath. Actually, even in Standard, it's become good. Though it's like tier 1 status in Standard right now in Lost Box, like the best Lost Box variant, is a far cry from the tier 0 status it had. A total like guillotine nut clench grip over the expanded format for essentially the past year. Yes, there have been other decks, but if you're going on ladder, the deck you're going to see the most up until Silver Tempest was Dragonite, because of Double Dragon Energy being the strongest energy card ever printed. Really just made it too good. So just an absolute dread to play against. One of the, like, I'm not going to say it's like the least thought out, because it like in Standard it makes sense. It's because Double Dragon is one of the least thought out cards ever printed that this card is F tier. I just cannot stand Dragonite V at all. Seeing this thing reminds me, first of all, of my deja vu that I can't do anything with, and second of all, reminds me of my horrible thousands of games I've played against this dumbass lizard. I do not like it. Then we have Rayquaza V, another one I was lucky enough to pull. I never really got why Rayquaza was Rapid Strike. It doesn't, like, Duraludon being Single Strike doesn't make sense either. Rayquaza should be Single Strike because Rayquaza actually one-hit KOs things, unlike Duraludon. Like, Duraludon does like 220 damage. You're not one-hit KOing any VMAX, any V-Star. They should have, like, swapped the logos on these guys. Rayquaza should have been Single Strike. They almost, like, these guys, like, don't even gain any benefit, like, besides, I've seen some Mustard variants playing with the, Rapid, or the Single Strike, guy, Duraludon, that's his name. But, like, this is, like, the most pointless Rapid Strike and Single Strike tag they've ever put out. They should have honestly just gave them to the Calyrexes, because they would have used them better. Why are these even Rapid Strike? I don't know. Regardless of, this card is absolutely beautiful. I pulled it on Christmas of 2021. Really just a pretty card. We got Zinnia in the background, really nice. Gonna put it in A tier. Then we have Noivern V, the Batman-esque Mitsuhiro Arisa drawn Noivern V. Really just a pretty card, just cool looking and really dynamic for Noivern. I'm not a big fan of Noivern. Frankly, most of Gen 6 is pretty bad, but like this is a card that really redeems him for me. And makes me want to play X and Y again, so I'm going to put it in A tier. Then we have Duraludon and Raihan. This card and the Rayquaza before it almost feel like character super rares, and honestly, they may have been intended as hint for that because these cards actually did not get character super rare versions later on in the VMAX Climax. If you remember, I believe VMAX Climax was that with character super rares, yeah. At the end of year 2 of Sword and Shield, VMAX Climax made up into our trainer galleries in the West for our 4 main sets, and these two got a VMAX character super rare, but did not get a V character super rare. It's probably because like these are basically already character super rares. So as for the card itself, though, it's just whatever. I went on a long rant just to like not care. Then we have Leafeon VMAX alternate art. This is the Hyogonosuke alternate art. Big fan of this. I believe it's the Hyogonosuke. It looks like his art style. I could be wrong, but this is a really nice card. Absolutely love the artwork on this one. If you're going to make a VMAX card, you might as well make it cute, and this one does that in spades. S tier. Then we have Flareon VMAX alternate art. This one by Okacheke. With the Executor sitting by the tree, KSIG. This is another one I actually saw in the Deja Vu in the same time. I saw the Executor sitting by the tree, so that's why it really sticks out to me. As for the card itself, it's just fine. Yeah, it's fine. Then we have Vaporeon VMAX. This card is blue Abadie, got lots of blue around him, but thankfully he's not going to die. Big fan of the way this card looks, lots of Pokemon in it. I suppose it uses the VMAX to a good scale, which is something said for a VMAX alternate art, which I'm usually not a big fan of, but B tier, we'll put him there. Then we have Glaceon alternate art. This is probably my least favorite of the VMAX alternate arts from Chilling Reign. Like, the Glaceon doesn't look good, the Pokemon beneath it don't look good. D tier. Jolteon VMAX alternate art getting struck by lightning. It's cool. It kind of looks like a sheep jumping over the moon in a way, which is kind of neat. I don't know if they intended for that. B tier. Then we have Sylveon VMAX alternate art, another one I'm not a big fan of. Just big Sylveon playing with some Pokemon. D tier. Then we have Rayquaza VMAX alternate art. This one's not bad. I think this one gets either overliked or overhated. You have people saying this is like one of the worst alternate arts ever, and you have people saying like, oh my god, this is literally Jesus reincarnated in front of me, save our souls. And it's really neither. It's just kind of okay, like not bad. C tier. Then we have Umbreon VMAX alternate art. This is definitely the one, if you had to take a title for most overrated alternate art, it applies to this one. I'm not a huge fan of the art. It's just kind of okay. Yeah, it's just popular because it's Umbreon, though, let's be real. It's not like that great of a card, especially compared to the Umbreon up here, which is a flawless, like really, really nice card. So it kind of like drags it down. I'm not even going to say the character super rare clears, because honestly the character super rare Umbreon VMAX I'm not a big fan of either, but though I do like the character super rare Umbreon V. Yeah, I don't like it. It's like C tier. I don't want to give it D because it's not like this, but it's like, it's not great. Just alright. Then we have Duraludon VMAX Duraludon. Significantly worse than the character super rare. Really, really boring artwork on this one. If you've seen the character super rare with Raihan at the top, illustrated by Akira Egawa, that is definitely a better card in my opinion. D tier. Then if there's any wonder what the next tier is, then you haven't been paying enough attention to my channel. Celebi is my favorite Pokemon, T0 is my favorite illustrator, and this is the best alternate art of all time, S tier. We'll be ranking the S tiers at the end of this video. Just an incredible card. Like, come on, T0 Celebi, like, you cannot go wrong. Favorite illustrator, favorite Pokemon put together. Wham. That is incredible. Like, really, just like, wow, they're just knocked it out of the park. Then we have Sandaconda V. It's not like bad, right? Like this art is really pretty, but like it doesn't do anything. It's very boring. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. Then we have Genesect V. The breakdancing Genesect is one I'm fortunate enough to own. I do also own 2 copies of Celebi, thankfully. Wish I would have owned more if they were like cheap, but they're not. Which I guess cheap is relative, because $30 is cheap for an alternate art, but $30 is not cheap for someone who used to pay $5 for tag team alternate art. So the Genesect V alternate art breakdancing is a very cool take on the card. Really kind of unexpected, because Genesect's kind of like this, you know, he's like this hardcore engine, and now he's really breaking a move as well as breaking your opponent with that Techno Blast attack. Not that he's actually using it, it's you using it. But just a really cool card, honestly, really colorful. I think I have a lot of respect for it. We're going to put it in A tier. Then we have the Greedent. I believe this is another Sayasaruya card. It's not bad, it's just like, okay, C tier. Teleon VMAX, I will say, like, this is probably the biggest step up in terms of alternate art to regular art. Like, the regular Inteleon VMAX is one of the ugliest cards to ever grace the TCG. Like, regular Inteleon VMAX is, like, down there with, like, Blaziken VMAX is one of the ugliest cards of all time. This Blaziken VMAX. Regular Blaziken VMAX, I get a very good, nice card. The alternate, though, is ugly. So it's, like, a step up in that way. It's from, like, a 0 to, like a nice, like, 6, 7 out of 10, right? Which I gotta respect. It's not bad. I do think it's like just kind of fine looking. Kind of reminds me of Hatterene in the way it just has all the tree cover. Doesn't really make the best use of it. The only problem is I feel like the best use of this card would have been pointing the rifle at the camera, because that would be like a really cool dynamic shot composition, but like they can't do that. If you know, in the past there was a Magmortar from the Dragons Exalted set that had to get an changed artwork in English because the Japanese version was pointing a smoking, his smoking arm cannon at the POV, and had to get censored over here. So they're not going to fall for that again. Not going to make any cards that are potentially scary, I guess. So it's not bad, just a little bit underwhelming for what it could be, unfortunately, but it's not his fault. Then we have the Mew V alternate art. I believe this is Naoki Saito running around with all the Pokemon, all the Fusion Strike Pokemon. The biggest problem is I don't like the Fusion Strike Pokemon they chose for the most part. I like Meloetta, I like Genesect, and I like Mew. Thankfully, those are like 3 of the best ones. Oricorio is also cool too. What I don't like is Ice-Cube, Toxtricity, hate Toxtricity, Smeargle, do not like Smeargle. So, you know, it like seeing a card with all those Pokemon on it, not my favorite. I forget what's in the background here and what's here, but I know there's Smeargle and I know there's Toxtricity. Toxtricity is an abysmal Pokemon, like a 0 out of 10 Pokemon. So, Mew V, by the verdict of being shoved with a bunch of Pokemon I do not like and not a very particularly interesting card, gets a D tier. Then we have Mew VMAX. This card is definitely a little overhated. I don't think it's like the next coming of Christ, but I do think it is a nice alternate art. It gets told it looks like a VMAX. No, it doesn't. Have you seen the VMAX? The VMAX looks terrible. This card looks pretty cool. Flinging a bunch of psychic objects around him, as Mew should. You know, this is very in character for Mew, because Mew is kind of just a little shit, frankly. If you've watched the movie that he's in, the Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, he like abducts Pikachu because he wants to play. So like if Mew got Dynamaxed, he'd probably just start playing and destroying things, because Mew is just like has no care in the world. So we're gonna put it in B tier. It's not bad. Then we have Espeon VMAX alternate art. This one's a little overappreciated for what it is. I believe this one is Koki Saito. It's a very beautifully drawn illustration. It just doesn't do anything particularly special. B tier. Also, get off that house, it is going to collapse. Then we have the So-So Gengar VMAX alternate art, the last from the Fusion Strike set. This one's definitely better than the Inteleon, I will say that. So-So is a great artist. The trees that Gengar is eating look mighty tasty just because of how wonderful So-So's art really puts across the really cute details. Gengar VMAX is not a Pokemon I particularly like. I like Gengar a little bit, but like Gengar VMAX is a bad VMAX form. So you really couldn't do that much with him. So I do like the fact that they chose to like put him as the center of attention and just kind of everything pointing into him, quite literally going in POV, you're going to die. Going to put this in B tier. Then we have the Charizard V alternate art. I did pull this one from Brilliant Stars. But I ended up selling it because it is worth way too much money for what it is. It is actually, I will say, as a big Charizard hater, this is a pretty nice card, and I would have kept it if it was like $10 instead of like $300 at the point I sold it, something like that. It is a nice card, though. It's a very dynamic camera angle. Charizard versus Venusaur, this is not a very fair matchup. He can kind of fly and shoot fire. Venusaur is just going to have to do his best, but he's not really going to make it through this fight. My man is not winning against Charizard. No offense, Venusaur. I know you're like better than Charizard in like half of Pokemon's history, but like you're not beating a fire type that can fly. Like that's your ultimate weakness, dude. Come on now. B tier. Then we have the Loom alternate art. This one is not bad. Was this Ligton, I believe, that drew this card? It is very pretty under the sea. Just kind of look of Lumineon. Surprisingly, Lumineon get a lot of love lately, because frankly, Lumineon hadn't had a noteworthy card since like Diamond and Pearl Stormfront before this, so you know, Lumineon is not getting always the biggest end of the stick, unfortunately, in terms of cards, but now at least has a nice V alternate art to show her name. But even better than that is my personal favorite, the V secret art rare from Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery. That is much prettier in my opinion than the regular Lumineon V alternate art. So it does, like, I probably would have ranked this like B like a year ago, but I think I'm gonna go like high C, and not the drink kind, just because of like, I think it's gotten worse with time as like I got to see the other Lumineon, which I like more. Then we have the Honchkrow V alternate art. I was excited to use this card when it first came out. Really didn't end up doing much with it with my Whimsicott friend from Vivid Voltage, but it is still a nice looking card. I'm going to put it in B tier. Then we have Arceus, I don't know. I think it's Arceus because it's RKS system. It's probably by Kawaii. Definitely an underappreciated alternate art that really I only think this would be probably like a $300 card if it was the V Star, but because of the perceived less rarity of regular V alternate arts, I think it goes down in value. Arceus isn't the most popular Pokemon over here, though it is very popular in Japan. This is just a great alternate art, S tier. Then we have, this is the Hisuian Lilligant playing on the ice. Do not know who illustrated this, but it's a nice card, B tier. Same thing with the Beedrill, I don't really have much to say, it's just pretty, lots of flowers around it, B tier. The Palkia is one my little brother was actually fortunate enough to pull. So shout out to Connor if he is watching this. I really hope he's not watching this. I've been quite vulgar this video. He's standing in like a Code Geass chess dimension or something like that. I don't know. I haven't watched Code Geass in like 10 years. That might be a bad comparison. Regardless, this card is alright. I have a little bit of attachment to it just because I got to... my brother pulled it. I got to take a picture with him pulling it, which was really cool. He's not a big Pokemon fan anymore, so he just honestly sold it, and that's cool. He got a new game for it, which is, you know, pretty neat for him. I forget who bought it, honestly. Was it Josh Hatter that bought it? Might be. Shout out to him if he did buy it. I forgot who bought it, but I think it might be Josh Hatter. Anyway, in regards to this card, it's pretty decent. B tier. That's a lot of rambling. Then we have the Machamp. I'm a little sad this one became expensive because it's probably my favorite alternate art from the set. It's got a little bit busy, but I do enjoy the way it looks. Wish I could own it. Maybe I'll buy it in Japanese someday because it's significantly cheaper there. A tier. Then we have the Okacheke drawn Sneasler. This is definitely the best of Okacheke's alternate arts, though still just kind of a fine card, right? B tier. It's a little bit better than fine, I suppose, but it's just pretty good. Then we have Mitsuhiro Arita, Dialga V alternate art. This one is really pretty. Apparently Dialga got a hold of that Zaza, spitting out some green clouds over there. I don't know, man. And he's got apparently fart cloud behind him, nice orange cloud. And he's going off to pollute the skies elsewhere, apparently, because the skies are blue here. Dialga up to some nefarious shit, man. Needs to be put under control, bro. Still a beautiful artwork, though. A tier. Then we have the Mewtwo V alternate art. Unfortunately, Pokemon Go did a big shaft to these two alternate arts that they got. They are both CG, and even more hurtingly is that I've been waiting for a Conkeldurr not Conkeldurr alternate art, but a Conkeldurr ultra rare for years. And the reason is that Conkeldurr is a Pokemon I quite like that doesn't get a lot of attention, and all of his cards have been absolutely abysmal. The only one with any potential was the first Conkeldurr, which is the reason I love Conkeldurr so much. The Noble Victories Conkeldurr that can add extra HP to itself is really, really cool. So I was like, oh boy, I can't wait for a Conkeldurr V when I heard it was announced for Pokemon Go. And then they proceeded to make Conkeldurr arguably, I'd say certifiably, the worst Pokemon V printed throughout the entire Sword and Shield era. And I'm not even joking, this is one of the worst Vs, one of the worst ultra rares ever conceived. Like, this is like, I think Pikachu V from Fusion Strike might be the only thing worse. Like, that's the only thing stopping this card from being the worst V. Is the worst V that's not from, like, a starter product, right? Because that's from a family deck. I'll clarify that, because there's a Lucario, actually, from a family deck that's probably better than Conkeldurr. God, I'm talking about Conkeldurr first, because I like Conkeldurr more than Mewtwo. This card is an insult. The alternate art being CG. Look, I get it. It's Pokemon Go. What if we made it look like Pokemon Go? Or what? Hear me out. This is crazy. Pokemon, you're not going to believe this. What if you hired artists to draw the cards so they looked like Pokemon Go? What if you did actual artists instead of CG? It's a crazy concept, I know. They both go in D tier. They're not like Conkeldurr going F tier. I'm offended that they make Conkeldurr so bad. Then we have Rotom V, one of the ones I am lucky enough to own. Did not pull this, I bought it in Japanese. for my Rotom page. Really not ever a collection goal of mine until recently, but I realized that I was only missing one of the Rotoms from the Rotom collection from Rising Rivals, so I bought it and put it in the page, and then I bought this for the middle of the page to finish it up. And it's just a great alternate art. It's also one I love playing online because it's got a really good ability, instant charge. S tier, really nice. Lots of details in this card, really rich in details, so I like it. Then we have Aerodactyl, the alternate art, possibly I'd say like number 2 on like the most overrated alternate art. Like, it's fine, but it's I should have bought this card because I knew it was going to go up in price when Lost Origin came out. I had like $100 and I was like, maybe I should buy like these Aerodactyls, just because like I saw what happened to Machamp and I was like, they're probably gonna go up, and I didn't, and then they did within like 3 days of it. It's just like, oh yeah, they went up. Yeah, this card's just whatever for me. I don't really care either way. C tier. Then we have the Giratina Shinji Kanda alternate art. Shinji Kanda's first ever alternate art. He now has, I believe, a few of them between art rares and alternate art, secret art rares, and all that. This is just a really awesome card. Again, S tier. You can't say enough nice things about how cool this card is, especially for Giratina. Like, you couldn't have given a better artist for Giratina, considering like Giratina's like this. He's in the distortion world, and if you want to represent that in an abstract way, there's almost nothing better than like Shinji Kanda or Tomokazu Komiya with these like very abstract and like almost horrifying art styles they apply to their cards. Then we have Berserker. I don't know why Berserker got an alternate art in the first place, because I don't like Berserker, and I don't like this card. I don't like his smile. F tier. It's like second worst alternate art. If we were to rank them, it's... I kind of want to rank Dragonite V even lower just because I despise it, so we'll do that. Blaziken's by far the worst, though. Gotta get Blaziken in the worst spot. Yeah, that's how it's ranked. Then we have Skuntank V. This one's a little bit of a Smelling the Roses card, where you kind of have to take some time to appreciate it, because it's not like immediately apparent, because it's kind of just, they're kind of another den. It is a cute card, though. It's got something going for it. Gonna put it in V tier. Then we have Regidrago V. If there is one other V I've hated seeing more than Dragonite, which there isn't. Dragonite V is definitely the worst. It's been Regidrago. Despite that, this alternate is a lot better, illustrated by Hataya, which also did the Ralt, I believe, from Astral Radiance, which I'm a big fan of. It's a nice looking card, though I am getting... My ranking might go down lower because I'm already sick of playing against Regidrago V-Star and Expanded. And this is like, you see this every day. Gonna put it in B tier. For like, art-wise it's B tier, but like, you might see it go down just because I hate seeing this card. Then we have the Victory Symbol Unknown. I'm not as sold on people about this alternate art as they seem to be. It's just decent, B tier. And finally, the final alternate art that we'll be ranking today is Lugia. This is probably the most over-hated alternate art. I thought when this came out that people were going to worship it because, first of all, it's Kawayu. Kawayu is great. My favorite illustrator before T-Zero was Kawayu. His art's just fantastic. And, like, come on, it's so sick. This is, like, one of the best looking cards ever. As someone who is not a Lugia fan, this card is awesome. I don't like Lugia, and I like this card. It is S tier, undoubtedly. It's, like, again, with Arceus and this is, like, amazing work for, like, Kawayu. So, we have our top 11 here. If I had to pick one out of these to not be in the top 10, like, thinking through it, it's probably the Shadow Rider. That's probably number 11. Still a great card, though. Don't let that dismiss it. My favorite is definitely Celebi. By far. Second favorite is Golurk by a mile. Third favorite I'm probably going to keep as Galarian Moltres. And we'll put Medicham as 4th. Leafeon as 5th. The Lugia as 6th. The Arceus as 7th. The Rotom as 8th. Giratina as 9th. And Flareon as 10th. This feels good. So, that is my ranking of all of the alternate art from the Sword and Shield era. Again, if you want to check out the tag team one, I have done a video on that as well, so just go check out my playlist on my channel, where you can see all of my tier list ranking videos. If you disagree with me, well, you can go do it yourself. It's in the description down below. Just go click that link and do it yourself. Maybe share it on Twitter, tag my video if you want to boost my content maybe a little bit. Thank you guys so much for watching this tier list video, though, and I'll see you in the next one.